do that. And in fact, over to you, Irene.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Kabbalat Shabbat on Zoom. And today we have Rabbi Shlomo Gerzi, who's going to lead us, and we have Leigh Lewis after that, who will give us a Devar Torah. So over to you.
No, before that, not after that.
Isn't it the other way around, Irene?
Sorry. We're having sorry, I got a bit muddled up. We're having Leigh starting us off, and he's going to give a Devar Torah, and then we're going to have Kabbalat Shabbat. So over to you, Leigh. Thank
Shabbos,
you.
everybody. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Shabbos, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Many years ago, when I was at Hebrew classes, we were doing some Chumash, and I remember that a particular piece of Chumash we were doing, the teacher saying to us that Yitro, which is this week's Sedra, Yitro must have been a really great man, a good man, because he has a Sidra named after him. Now, at that time, it seemed a logical conclusion, a logical thing to say. But as time went past and I learnt a bit more, we all learnt a bit more, I realised that this wasn't necessarily correct. Yitro is one of 6 Sidrot which are named after people. There's Noach, Chai Sarah, Yitro, Korach, Balak, and Pinchas. If you start to examine these people and look into what they did, why they're there, whatever, you find that it's not all a bed of roses or nice people. Noach, who is in the Sedra Noach, his Sedra starts that Noach was a righteous man in his generation. The Gemara talks about him in great detail and says that he was in his generation. Yeah, in any other generation, he would have been a bit of rubbish. It was only in his generation he was a good man. So it doesn't follow that he was good all the way through. Chai Sarah is actually about the life of Sarah. Well, it's only that opening verse, because the beginning of verse 2 says that Vayomos Sarah, and Sarah dies. And it then goes on with the story of Abraham mourning her and buying the land, etc. And the story continues. So Sarah is a good person, only from the opening verse, although she does not actually do anything because she dies at the beginning of that Sidra. I'll come back to Yitro, which is this week's one. The next Sidra, which is named after a person, is the Sidra of Korach. And Korach was definitely not a nice person. He tried to usurp the leadership and criticize Moshe on everything he did, and ends up getting 250 followers. And God, in the end, has enough of it and punishes them all, and they all die. So Korach definitely wasn't a nice person. A few weeks after reading Korach, we have the story of Balak. Balak wants to curse the Bnei Yisrael, and he hires somebody to do it, Bilam. And every time Bilam tries to curse people, the Bnei Yisrael, it comes out as a blessing. And in the end, Balak and Bilam actually have an argument. He says, I hired you to curse the people. And Bilam says, I know what you wanted, but I can't go against God's wishes. So they end up broigus. They try one more time. It doesn't work. And then they leave the story. They both leave the area and are never again called into the Torah. And the last one is Pinchas. Actually, Pinchas makes his initial appearance at the end of of Parsha Balak, where he kills. He's a zealot, and he kills a man and a woman who are flaunting their behavior in front of everybody else. So Sedra Pinchas, it's that he doesn't actually appear in it. God just says to Moses, don't worry about Pinchas, I'll deal with him. So Pinchas, although supposedly being a zealot, is actually a murderer because he kills people. So when you analyze this and work out, are all Sidrot named after good people? No, they're not. And when we come to talking about this week's one, Yitro, who has appeared under different names in previous Sidrot, when the Sidra starts, it talks about him deciding to come into the camp where the Bnei Yisrael are and speak to Moshe. And he's known as, it introduces him formally, Yitro Kohen Midyon Chosein Moshe, and then it becomes Yitro Chosein Moshe, Yitro the father-in-law of Moses, and then it becomes just Yitro. And at this point you think, he is a good person. And within 2 verses, he goes back to being not even Yitro. He just becomes Chosein Moshe. And the episode that he is most famous for, the management consultant bit, his name is never mentioned. He advises Moshe, and all the way through those few verses, he is just called as Chosein Moshe, the father-in-law of Moses. His name is never used. In fact, his name as Yitro is never again used in the Torah. So he wasn't a good man. So we have to try to, and I haven't got the answers to this, we have to try and analyze, what did he do wrong? Why was it wrong? And how come he is seen to be and thought to be a good man, but actually isn't? And if you think that this is, that's something from 3,000-4,000 years ago, can I just ask you to look at the news headlines? Because the Epstein files are bringing up names which you would not believe. People who have been respected, people who have been listened to, people who have power, who behave incredibly badly, but people do not want to believe it, and people are not knowing what's going to happen. Whether this is the end, not just of the people named in it, but the end of the current government, is very likely, because this same kind of thing happened 63 years ago with the Profumo affair. It may not sound like a Torah thing to talk about, but these things are real life. And just because somebody is an authority, and just because somebody is revered, doesn't make them a good person. So all we have to do, or what we have to do, is make sure we behave properly to our friends, to our family, to our neighbors, to our community, so that then we can put all the things right, so that Jewish people, because all the people hitting the headlines at the moment seem to be Jewish, the Jewish people can again be respected. And we have to do that. We have to win the moral high ground to show that not all Jews behave badly, we behave properly, and that's all there is. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shakayach, well done.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll continue this conversation in the next week or 2. Thank you very much, Leigh. So now we come to Kabbalat Shabbat itself, and